water scarcity is a huge issue worldwide. Bezos is on this. The guys from Google is on this. And if you look at the latest patents that were published by Google, they are related to water. And Bill Gates investing heavily into water. He has Gates Foundation. They look at it from a bit different angle. Problem is not just the source. The problem is that we are polluting the source. So they heavily invested actually in sewage treatment in order not to pollute the water reservoirs. But on the other hand, they invested also in companies developing technologies that creates water out of air. We like everything wireless today. Why can't we make water wireless? The main vision His Highness Sheikh Hamdan bin Zayed Al Nahyan is to make water available to everyone anywhere in the world. Now imagine a cube, let's say 1 square meter by 1 square meter. This cube can be dropped anywhere on the planet. It will get the energy from the sun and will create you water.
When you say, oh, we can make it from air, it's kind of that famous saying of, do you expect to make money from thin air? Now you're saying, technically, yes, you can.
Yeah, yeah.
So how?
We will go very deep tech now.
Yeah.
Deep tech. Basically.
Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. I know you've come all the way from Abu Dhabi, so much appreciated. Tell me how you got here. How did you end up in this, where you are right now?
It all started in 2017.
Okay.
When I saw a group of very, very young and talented scientists developing a technology that creates water out of air.
So I'm just going to jump in now. Where do you see scientists do this? Because I don't. So where did you come across scientists doing this?
So I was working for a private office fund. And mainly what I was doing all day is due diligences on different companies.
Right.
Actually, I'm not coming from a background of water or science. All my life, I've been into high tech.
Okay.
And I did cyber, I did gaming companies. And
amazing.
I'm actually from a total different background. And suddenly I saw this.
Do you think that's helped you? Like, do you think not coming from a scientific background, you've come with this with a perspective or a set of fresh eyes that no one else has seen, that you're less biased or more?
Yes, because if you are talking to scientists, again, what is creating water out of thin air? There is a simple word for it: rain.
The technical term.
Yeah, the technical term is rain. And scientists don't look at it as an innovation.
Okay.
Because it's obvious for them.
Yeah.
And then one of the things that got my curiosity, when I saw it, I started to ask questions.
Okay.
Like, okay, how is the air quality will affect the water quality? And I spoke to scientists from different universities, US, Israel, even the UAE. Nobody had an answer to this question.
Interesting.
And I said, wait a second. We are talking about, again, technology that exists from the beginning of the world. You know, the people in the desert 5,000 years ago, they were drinking water from air because it was the drops on the plants because of the change of the temperature in the desert. So we know this. So you don't know what is the effect, what is the nutrition you have in the water.
Yeah.
And then I understood that it's so obvious that nobody actually took the time to start researching it.
Were you surprised by that? Like, were you kind of like...
Yeah, because for me, again, not coming from a research background, I thought that the modern science, we know everything about water.
Yeah.
You know, now we are talking about hydrogen, we are talking about nitrogen, all those things, atom. But water, come on, it's simple, it's water. Still, we don't have the knowledge of all the molecular structures and the changes of the water that it's going. And so there is tons of things to research. And that's, by the way, what we are doing now in collaboration with a few universities by conducting researches on this topic. But that's how it's all started. And I got curious. I got curious because, when we live in this country and we use the AC most of the year,
Yeah.
and you see all this water that is going out of your AC just wasted.
Yeah.
And the idea is, wait a second, why won't we use it? We have it already. And then I started the research about it and how to create it and how to do it. And that's basically brought me here.
How did you go from, out of all you've done, the gaming, the crypto, all this, how did you go, like, why did you go, that's it, that's the one I'm going to pursue? Like, I know gaming is a massive industry already, crypto is a massive industry, proven and tested. What made you kind of divert into this?
Because I truly believe that this is the future. Because with all the respect, let's talk crypto for a second,
Yeah.
or NFT. I love history. And the story about the flowers in Netherlands when they had, I forgot the name of the flower, the famous Netherlands flowers. What's the name?
Tulips.
Yes. And I think in the 17th century, they were worth more than gold at some point. And until and people were investing all their money into those flowers. And
Yeah.
it was like the best commodity to trade until one moment it all collapsed. And why it's collapsed? Because there is no real use of those flowers except that they're beautiful.
Yeah.
Same goes if we are talking about, I don't know, cryptocurrency, NFTs or something like this, which is, when the economy runs around it, it's very nice. But then if we are going back to basics and we shut down the electricity, you cannot use them. And when I started thinking about it, when the word water scarcity pops up, the first image that we see is like desert, Africa, and people without water, which is true. And that's the images that we saw on TV from the moment, from the moment I remember.
Yeah.
But today, this is not an Africa's problem. It's water scarcity is a huge issue worldwide. It's the US, it's Europe, of course, Asia, in the Middle East. It is the most water scarce region. Middle East and Africa is the most water scarce region on the planet. But if you look at raw numbers, like let's take India, for example, a very, very evolving economy, country that is moving forward rapidly. Today, India is about 14% of the world global population.
Okay.
But if you look at the amount of sweet water reservoirs, including groundwater, they have only 7% of water. That is, if you take the entire water that you have on
Yeah.
the globe. So even if everything is perfect and there is no pollution and the infrastructure is elite class, India is already in 50% deficit. By the way, what do you think? What is the country with the biggest water reservoirs in the world?
Oh, this is going to be one of these questions where I'm going to kick out the biggest. I would presume somewhere where the biggest, like Greenland,
Canada.
Canada. Okay.
And the density of population in Canada is not that big, but they have the resource. So the resources are not equal around the world. This is the first issue.
Is it a population issue though? Is it because no other time in human history have we had this many humans on the planet? Is that where the water, like, what determines water scarcity? So in Canada, it's not scarce because of the population, but in India, because they have 1.4 billion, is that because then it becomes scarce? Like, how am I supposed to say it? What's the unit per person to make it scarce or not scarce?
So first of all, you measure the source
Yeah.
of number of liters per capita.
Okay.
Second, you measure the access.
Okay.
And both of them are very, very important. But I will go to the beginning of times and again back to history. People were always building their settlements around water resources. That's rivers, lakes, whatever. And then a huge change happens with the Roman Empire. They invented the aqueducts, and basically they gave the world the ability to move water from point A to point B. And it's happened 2000 years ago. What did we do as, innovators? Again, cryptocurrencies, flying taxes. What did we do about this? We were very innovative. We took the aqueducts, which was above ground, and we took it underground. Very smart. But basically, that's it. And you still need to move water from point A to point B. And when you have, so basically, if you look in the entire picture, you have two issues with water in the world. And I'm coming to a question why I ended up with this. Because first, the source becoming more and more problematic to get water. Second, the infrastructure around the globe is becoming a huge issue.
Okay.
Because in all the countries, it becomes old. Changing it costs trillions of dollars and takes decades. And people stop drinking water from the tap because they don't trust the tap.
Exactly. I was going to say that. I don't. Oh, yeah.
Why then they don't trust the tap? Not because of the source. The source is clean. But from the moment it reaches from the source to your tap, it's got contaminated.
Yes.
So we have source issue and we have transportation issue. And when I saw this project, the main idea was, wait a second, we like everything wireless today. Like we have wireless internet, we got wireless charging, wireless communication that basically changed the world 20 years ago. Why can't we make water wireless? Sounds crazy. But if we will basically tap into the atmosphere, atmosphere today is the biggest water source on the planet.
When you say it, it sounds very obvious.
Yeah, it is. And if we tap into this source and we have an effective way actually to separate the humidity out of the air, I don't need to move water from point A to point B. I can create water on the spot. For example, I can put a machine, which is the size of a 5-gallon dispenser, in this room, just plug it into the electricity and create water in this room. Or I can put a machine which is slightly bigger on the roof of this amazing structure and create enough water for the entire building. And it will be on the spot. And instead of the water traveling hundreds or thousands of kilometers from point A to point B, it will be like 10 meters, 20 meters, 30 meters, and it all can be done. And we already started it. And I believe that this will be the future of water.
When you saw these scientists in 2017 and they showed you this technology, were you instantly converted? Like you were like, Eureka, that's it? Or you were like, why hasn't this been done before? Why isn't Jeff Bezos on this? Why isn't Gates on this? Why isn't, Musk on this?
Actually, yes, that's exactly what I said. And I started research. And the answer is that Bezos is on this. The guys from Google is on this.
Okay.
And if you look at the latest patents that were published by Google, they are related to water.
Really?
Yes, Google. And Bill Gates investing heavily into water. He has like Gates Foundation. They have a bit different They look at it from a bit different angle
Okay.
because they are saying that the problem is not just the source. The problem is that we are polluting the source.
Right.
And the pollution is not like our standard pollution that we are talking about, I don't know, like gases or something like this. No, was our sewage.
Right.
So they heavily invested actually in sewage treatment in order not to pollute the water reservoirs. But on the other hand, they invested also in companies that developing technologies that creates water out of air.
Right.
To be honest, we were one of the first. And I believe that today we have the most advanced technology and products on the global market. But it's the beginning. I'm not saying that this is what we have now. It is the answer to all humanity question. I think that we are on the right direction. And what's more important is that a lot of universities, which basically, I strongly believe in universities and research institutes because basically all the innovations are coming from there because they have the time and the budgets, to invest 20, 30 years into something that will basically change the world in the future. But now everybody is on this because people understand it.
Yeah.
The only, let's say that today, you don't have too much options. Option number one, yeah, we can import water from Canada,
Mhm.
but it's pretty complicated and very expensive. And option number two, we can desalinate. Desalination has a lot of issues and a huge impact on the environment
Okay.
and also on the people around. It's on the people and on the environment.
For example, but what would be obviously we're in the UAE here, so we're on next to the sea. What would be the big impact for desalination? I thought that would be it would make more sense for desalination to invest in that technology to make that technology better because of being the resource.
The main issue with desalination is what's called the brackish water.
Okay.
How it works. Basically, you take 1 liter of salty water from the sea, you push it, it's called reverse osmosis, you push it with high pressure into a membrane. Then around 50% of this water will be rejected with all the salts inside, and 50% will be pushed as a clean water. What will happen to the rejected 50%? They will go back to the sea. What does it mean? It will mean that the salinity of the sea will go higher and higher.
So then the next time when you get that same water in, you're going to get less out of it.
Exactly.
Right.
And so if you look at it very long term, it's not sustainable.
Mm.
And I'm not talking about sustainable as environmental friendly. I'm talking about sustainable like, okay, can desalination solve our problem with the next 200-300 years? No, it will just not work. And with actually getting water from the atmosphere, the impact on the environment is almost zero.
Really?
Yeah. And the only way today to do it correctly, and why a lot of people are investing and developing and doing, because it's all about we use energy to extract this water out of air.
Yeah.
And now the main focus is to make it more and more and more efficient and to actually to reduce the amount of energy that we use in order to extract this water.
Do you find that is the technology catching up? Is it quicker now, the technology to get these solutions, or is there the same problems are going to cause the delays?
The technology is starting to catch up. I think that again, the last 3-4 years, um, there was a lot of worldwide market education as mm, that atmospheric water generation. It is a water source, Because let's say that until today, but if we will stop people on the street, we'll ask them, okay, what are the known water sources? Most of the people would say, okay, lakes, rivers, groundwater. Some of the others will say desalination, especially in this area because we know it. Maybe some will say from a bottle, but no one will say out of air.
No.
And this awareness and this possibility is now driving people and scientists and companies from all over the world to now to invest in research and development of the thing. Because the more people invest and the more people are in it, the faster it will grow. And also, if you look also at the world trends, again, jumping to history, 100 years ago, everybody wanted to go to centralization. Okay, we have one power plant, we have one sewage system, one water. Today, people are talking more and more about decentralization. And if we look at Africa, for example, and the real revolution that it did when cellular communication penetrated Africa, when people they did not have landlines, and today they have like 90 something percent penetration of cellular communication, which is used also to pay, and they use their mobile phone for like everything.
Yeah.
I think that same will be with water. Instead of building a huge infrastructure system in Africa, or even if we talk about India, same thing. If in every village they will have their own microgrid, which is by the way already happening with electricity, with microgrids that are just installed in villages and supply enough electricity for the village, they will have their own water source in the village, and you don't have to again run an infrastructure for tens of thousands of kilometers. And that's it. It can be fast, and it will affect the life of billion people around the planet.
So this is going to lead me on to one of the questions. So can you explain the tech behind your water? How is it possible? Because when you say, oh, we can make it from air, it's kind of that famous saying of, do you expect it to make money from thin air? Now you're saying, technically, yes, you can.
Yeah, you can.
So how?
We will go very deep tech now.
Yeah.
Deep tech. Basically, on the planet, there is humidity everywhere. Okay, even in the most dry places, Nevada desert or Sahara desert, you still have at least 10% of relative humidity. There is no place in on Earth that you don't have humidity, because if there is no humidity, we wouldn't be able to live there. So, the humidity is basically part of the air. Now, when the air is getting colder, it's basically called the dew point temperature, which is a relative formula which is derived from your temperature and the amount of humidity in the air. So basically, when the air is getting colder, the molecules of the water start to stick to each other. They become heavy and become a drop. Basically, what I explained to you, how rain works. Because in the sky, we have cold air meeting hot air, then condensation process occurs, exactly what I said, and then we have rain. We did the same in a box.
Okay.
We created a box that is scalable from, again, 30 liters per day to 6,000 liters per day. In this box, what all we do is making sure that hot air meets cold air in the most efficient way, and we create rain. That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
I'm kind of waiting for the catch. I feel like it sounds very almost too simple, but yet very ingenious at the same time.
Yeah. There is no catch, but there is a downside for it.
Okay.
Again, I mentioned it a few times before, and that's exactly what everybody's working on. When you are doing when hot air and cold air meeting each other, you need to get the cold air from somewhere. Cooling air is an expensive process. Expensive, not expensive in terms of energy wise. So um, today we can do it in a very effective way, but it's not effective enough
Okay.
in terms of being like really, really, really cheap. And what's basically we are doing today is developing technology that will actually allow us to do the same, but 20 times more energy efficient.
Right.
That's it. That's the catch, and that's where the technology needs to go.
For the technology, though, I presume that is for the hotter countries. If you have a colder country, then is it easier or cheaper? Because
In colder countries, you cannot do condensation at all,
okay,
but there are other methods. Because when you want to create water out of thin air, basically the thesis goes you can do condensation, again, rain in a box,
yeah,
or there is now something called absorption. Uh, when we spoke about shoes earlier. When you buy shoes, you find a small packet of silica gel in the shoe
yeah,
usually.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, what is this? Basically, this is a material that observe moisture. What it does, it takes water out of the air.
Right.
So Uh, today we are doing a lot of experiments with similar material, which is not silica. The problem with silica, it's a bit, you have too much chemicals in the water if you do it with silica. But there are other materials. There are solid desiccants. Again, this silica gel is a desiccant.
Yeah.
And this is a solid one. There is also a liquid one, which looks like water. But when you expose it to air, it starts to absorb the water in air passively without using any energy.
Right.
And there is new materials like matter organic frameworks that do the same. So in cold countries, you will use this. So basically, you will take something, you will expose it to air, and it will observe the moisture passively. Now, the tricky part is to get the water out of it. And that's what we are working on today.
Okay.
And this will be the solution for cold countries.
For cold countries. Interesting. How far away do you think you are from that?
I believe that we will introduce it in the next 2 years.
Oh, interesting. Do you think it's what's easier, the hotter countries or the colder countries?
The hotter countries
The hotter is easier.
is easier. And actually, if we look at it, the hotter countries are more water scarce than the colder one. So it's let's say it's also more needful.
Okay.
But it's not just this. Again, we become addicted to bottles. We become addicted to plastic bottles. And it's already a matter of trust that people don't trust the tap, they trust the bottle.
Hmm.
By the way, it's not always right. And when people take a bottle of water, most of the people, they just check that it's properly sealed. They never checked what's really inside, from where this water came from, or anything. Like the proof of quality, it's properly sealed. And I always say, guys, come on, I can buy for $20, I can buy a device that properly will seal your bottle. It's not a guarantee of quality.
Is that to do with, do you think though that's mindset or marketing or just convenience?
I think it's mindset and marketing. Uh, Convenience, of course, but again, mindset and marketing. Because people see that, again, they cannot trust the tap, so they trust the water bottle. And if we are talking, let's say, let's talk about the United Arab Emirates. The tap water here is very good, and you can drink it,
It is good.
and it's 100% safe to drink, and even healthy in sometimes.
So where has it crept in? because I told you before, I'm here 19 years now. Before you said that, I would have said, nah, because I can get my 12 liters of water delivered for 15 dirhams and it comes from Dubai and it's surely that must be, it's not like, why wouldn't, or then, I'm not saying they're in on it, but why aren't they promoting the tap water themselves, UAE? Why aren't the government saying, you know what, tap water is good, we should be proud of our tap water? I've never heard
it. I heard it, but I never heard it on the like on mass campaigns.
Yeah.
But this is the truth. The tap water is good, but because of the multinationalities living here, and and especially people that are coming from Southeast Asia, for example, you will not get them near the tap because they were born not trusting the tap.
Yeah.
Because basically back there the water is unsafe. The tap water is unsafe.
Yeah.
So they used to bottles, and it brings it all together. And because if you talk to Austrians, for example, those guys are drinking from the tap. They were born into this, and it's fine.
Yeah, we probably do, but no, to be honest, it must be because when I go home, if I go back to Ireland, bottled water isn't a thing. Like it's just, here it's kind of like I'll grab a bottle of water. You actually, you always hear it, I'll grab a bottle of water, just a habit. You mightn't drink it, but I would say in Ireland and the UK, unless you're more health conscious, it goes with health conscious. It doesn't go with your go-to.
Actually, usage of plastic bottles as one of the biggest single-use plastic bottles is one of the biggest problems of the 21st century.
Yeah.
Because the carbon footprint on it is insane, and not just because of the plastic, but because of the transportation and the utilization. And even if you will recycle it after, which basically 99% of the plastic bottles in the world are not recycled, but even if you recycle them, the environmental impact will be very, very high. And reducing them will make a huge difference.
But UAE must be up there with the highest per capita of plastic usage for bottles.
No.
Or we're not.
By the way, you know which country is the highest in the world?
I'm going to get it wrong now because UAE. I'll go with, just because of size, America.
Mexico.
Ah.
Within the UAE still, there is a lot of plastic bottle used. Of course, we all see that, we all know that.
Yeah.
But as part of the government plans for UAE 2030,
Yeah.
there will be no single-use plastic. So basically,
Really?
within 5 years, single-use plastic will be banned within the UAE. This is part of the goals of UAE 2030.
But just as a consumer and then replace it with what?
So there are a few options. The first one is glass,
Okay.
which is good and, by the way, very healthy option.
Okay.
Because in terms of basically, if you want to hold the water,
Yeah.
and this is the healthiest option. But if you want to do it easy, but glass has its own downsides. Like you cannot take glass to the beach. You will not give glass to the kids.
Yeah.
So Tetra packs,
Okay.
made of carton and 100% recyclable, and cans.
Okay.
Those will be the products that will change the market. But I will tell you what will be the biggest change. One of the good things about plastic, not good but positive, it's very cheap.
Yeah.
In production.
Yeah.
In compared to, like, if we talk about cans, which is aluminum, it's more expensive, or Tetra Pak, which combines again the paper, it's more expensive. So the prices of bottled water will go up, and that will make people to use reusable bottles more and more. And instead of grabbing a new plastic bottle every time, they will have their own metal bottle that, by the way, is very nice because it can keep your water cold. It's very simple. It's cost you 10 dirham and you can refill it anywhere. And I believe that this will be in the next 10 years the majority.
Do you think though that there'll be pushbacks from companies in the sense, or do you just think it'll become a luxury item?
No, again, plastic, it's already uh, part of the states in the U.S., like the state of California, ban single-use plastic bottles.
Interesting.
They use cans, but in the U.S. they love cans. They can do
Yeah.
they put everything in a can. They are the country who invented soup in the can. Okay, so they are doing cans. But I think that in our part of the world, it will be also cans, but Tetra packs. And there are now also, by the way, a lot of innovators, which I saw, that are working with biodegradable materials
Yeah.
made of cornstarch or any other materials that can be similar, let's say, that can be used for packaged water.
Okay.
They are already on the market today. They are still expensive, but I believe that within the next few years, it will also will be a thing.
But they'll have to do it.
Yeah,
They have no choice.
and the companies who produce the bottling water companies, they will not go away. They will just change and adapt to the new reality, which is a new packaging
Yeah.
and also maybe new business models as well, by, I don't know, selling water on the street, by refilling your own refillable bottle.
Yeah. Why? But again, I'm just coming from my view because I'm not in the water world. But why would it not be easier instead of trying to convert everyone from plastic to by 2030, if they invested that much money or X amount of money into the campaign that the water from your tap is safe? So why it seems like they're kind of almost diverting away from the plastic and spending and then all this cornstarch and all this tetraform, all this, when yes, the water is perfectly fine from your tap.
I think that, again, because of the multi nationalities living in the UAE,
Yeah.
it's going to be harder than you think. Because, again, me and you, and let's say that people who grew up in, let's say, Europe or US, no, I was drinking from a tap when I was a boy. So converting me back to tap water would be very easy.
Yeah.
But people who grew up knowing that you can get sick if you even brush your teeth with a tap, convincing them with this will be very, very hard.
Just not
It's just two different mindset.
interesting. Talk to me about the goals. Sustainability goals. How do you feel from your side going forward? How is it?
The goals for the company or what?
Both goals for yourself, goals for the company, goals for, are they reachable? Are they attainable? Like going forward, what do you think would be the obstacles, the you know incentives for people for yourself and the company?
The main goal, and this is the main vision also of the investors of the company, His Highness Sheikh Hamdan bin Zayed Al Nahyan and um, other investors, is to make water available to everyone anywhere in the world. So yes, now we are working here within the UAE, developing it, testing it, building the market. But the main goal is to go globally and to create those microgrids in every village in Africa, or, I don't know, supply it to every apartment in New York. It's all there. And this is the main goal. Now, where is the challenges? Technology. Again, we need, and we are working very hard on it, just researching more, uh, creating new materials, and making the technology more and more and more energy efficient. Because the vision is, now imagine a cube, let's say 1 square meter by 1 square meter. This cube can be dropped anywhere on the planet. It will get the energy from the sun and will create you water. That's it. You don't need to plug it. You don't need to do anything. Where there is water, the second important thing after water in the world is food. If you will have enough water and the water will be cheap and available, it will give you the ability to grow food in places which you cannot do it today. And then the whole global economy and health will go higher. So this is the goal.
Do you think since you've got involved in this back in 2017, have you seen massive leaps in technology? Have you seen some from when you first got involved to now? Has it changed a lot, or is still the same obstacles?
There are leaps. I cannot say that they are massive and the technology is moving, but not quickly enough.
Okay.
I believe that the most important years were the last 2 years. And I think also the COVID affected it because people were afraid to touch anything. And when you were ordering water, from the supermarket, and I remember people were taking like sanitizers and was sanitizing the bottle.
Washing the vault, yeah,
And then the ability that you can create water within your own house was mind blowing. So I think in the last 2-3 years, um, I see more and more companies, scientists, and organizations are moving into these directions. And of course, the more people there, the more money is there, the quicker you will see the results.
yeah. What is you said that the UA are involved in, what is their target? Have they given a target, or they want this up and running by? Like, do they feel it's a 5-year project, 10-year project? By 2050, they want it in every home. Is there a date or time?
It's for now to reach the initial goals. It will be 5 years. It is a 5-year project for the initial goals. But I think that this is something that will be continuously evolving. Because you will always have different challenges that we probably are not seeing even now.
Yeah.
That will come in the future. But again, let's talk futuristic. Everybody is discussing now hydrogen cars. Now, how can you create hydrogen? You can create hydrogen using water. Now imagine that you have a car that takes energy from the sun, creates water. This water is turned into hydrogen and your car drives.
Space isn't done renew their car.
Okay, that is exactly what we are like looking ahead more than 5-10 years. Not just drinking water or water for agriculture. Imagine, it can be the future energy.
Again, I'm just thinking of, surely though there must be pushback, because there must be a lot of companies going, well, that's kind of dangerous technology. That's going to put us out of business. That's going to disrupt a lot of, petroleum companies and car companies who are based their next 10, 20 years on battery cars and electric cars and hybrid cars. And next minute, all of a sudden comes the hydrogen car that can renew itself. They don't need any of this.
I think that if you look in what all those companies investing, they are investing in those future technologies. Because oil companies, they know and understand that again, it will end at some point. It's not endless. Okay, so they have to find an alternative for them to evolve. So no issue with that. If we talk about electric cars and everything, we also know that the batteries that are used today, they have pretty short shelf life.
Yeah.
And the technology, the lithium technology or any other technology that is used in car batteries today is also something which is, it is a phase. It's not like, let's say that petrol cars, yeah, are now 100 years, let's say in the market, a bit more. Then they are ruling the market for 100 years. Now they start to slide down. Uh, I I believe that electric cars will be a shorter phase.
Really?
Yes.
But do you think that the hydrogen, this technology can leapfrog the electric?
Yeah. Actually, not me. I read a lot of publications of people who are much smarter than me.
Um, I think we touched on it a little bit, but if you want to go more into it, the challenges you're facing, and then with the challenges, where do you see the solutions?
So there are basically two challenges. Challenge number one, which we spoke about, is to reduce the energy consumption in order, again, to make it more accessible and make it cheaper.
Can you give an example though of cost currently?
Very simple. Today, the cost of 1 kilowatt of energy here in the United Arab Emirates is around 13 fils.
Okay.
We can create 5 liters of water using 1 kilowatt of energy.
Okay.
Which means that the cost of liter will be around 2.5 fils. We need to reduce it by 20 times in order to have it mass market. We'll explain to you why. Because for drinking water, it's very cheap because you get high quality mineralized water for 2.5 cents, for 2.5 fils per liter, which is nothing. But when you are talking about hundreds of thousands liters used for irrigation, it's still more expensive than, let's say, desalinated water. So what we need to do is to reduce the energy, and the main goal is to produce around 20 liters of water uh, for 1 kilowatt of energy.
For 1 kilowatt.
That's the pricing. The second challenge is market education. When people ask me, what do you do? Say, okay, working for a company called Ma Hawa. And what Ma Hawa do? And I say, we create water out of air. So the first question is what? Then I repeat. The second question is how? Then I explain. And the third reaction is wow.
I feel I did all those three things, and exactly in that.
Basically, that's the main challenge of educating the market that this is a viable water source, and also answering questions like what happens if I sneeze into the machine? Will it affect my water? And all
That they would think of that. But what happens? There's going. I'll play a little bit of what can happen. Say, for example, you live in you mentioned earlier on New York. New York has a massive rat situation. What would happen if a rat got into your machine?
First of all, the inside the machine, the all the water sector is isolated.
Okay.
And if it will be, if this isolation will be broken, the machine will stop immediately.
Right.
But even if something like this happens and a rat or other insect are getting into the machine, we have multi-stage barriers and filtrations for the air and for the water. So before the air goes into the condensation chamber, we clean it twice. Let's say something happened in the condensation chamber, the water that is created, we clean it in a 4-stage filtration. So the possibility that you will have a contamination, even even a virus, I'm not talking about rats, I'm talking about
Yeah.
something small
Yeah.
like a virus. And by the way, we were talking about the COVID, which is a virus.
Yeah.
People were saying, but if I'm sick with COVID, what will happen to the machine? Or even we basically eliminate the viruses as well.
Really?
So we have filtering from in the inlet and also in the outlet to make sure that the water will be 100% safe.
So how pure is the water?
It's very pure. It's actually the purest version of O2 that you can get. Because again, let's talk about rain for a second. So the rain is pure water,
Yeah.
but it touches the ground. When it touches the ground, there is a chemical reaction between the molecules of the water and what we have on the ground. I'm not saying it's bad or good. There is
Just a reaction.
just a reaction.
Yeah.
And what's happening is just it's because it's touching, the structure of the molecules changes. What we do, we take this without any reaction. It's pure O2. We add magnesium to it as a natural mineral. We add calcium to it, and that's it.
That's it.
So you don't have sodium, you don't have chlorine, you don't have any preservative. So basically, this is the purest form. The original water is the purest form of O2. We just add the minerals for the taste. Because if I will give it to you in the purest form, you will say it will not be tasty to you because you are not used to it.
Okay.
So this is one, and second is the health issue.
I was just going to
Because-
say, obviously, this must come with a health benefit if you're drinking this water.
Yeah, so the health issue is that you are getting the needed amount of minerals that you need for your body to perform, and this is calcium, magnesium. In some cases, we also add potassium, but that's all you need. You don't need chlorine or sodium in your water.
Again, I think this probably covers what I was going to say, the community impact. Obviously, if you get the cost down, if this get into villages, then obviously the beneficial. It's just
Yes, it's really, it's not just a community impact. It can be a global impact.
Yeah.
Because again, water is super important, but the next derivative of water is food. And if we will be able to solve, let's say, thirst and water scarcity and hunger in the world, come on, we will be all living in a much better place.
absolutely. And lastly, just from your side, the future innovations. How far can this go?
The future innovations, again, it will be available everywhere. We already, by the way, implemented it in cars, which are driving here in the roads of UAE and produces clean drinking water while you drive. Boats. I think that the next will be airplanes and maybe even to space.
Really?
That's
If it works here, then there's no reason why it can't work. Very exciting. Well, thank you very much for your time. I'm very excited. Thank you very much.